In the summer of '83, inside the instructor's room at the primary high school, Mr. Henry, I've decided. I'm going to keep learning, but I won't be going to Beijing University. I'll be studying data science at the National Defense University instead. The autumn breeze felt sharp. Lily, looking thin and fragile, had a firm look. Henry was surprised at first, then his expression turned to joy. Lily had finally changed her mind. I assumed you were letting your cousin have your Beijing University spot so you could be with Tom, but the decryption program at the National Defense University is unique. It requires a background check and going undercover. Have you talked to your family about this? No need, Lily answered, showing a flicker of sorrow, soon replaced by determination. Once she was gone from this life, perhaps she wouldn't lose anything else. Her uncle had passed away saving her from a river, and her parents had taken in her cousin, saying Lily owed her a life and had to learn to be flexible. Her parents tried to make it up to her by offering all the good things to her cousin. Even her own boyfriend seemed taken by her. Both family and romance taken. Now they wanted her place at Peking University, too. Her folks pushed her to say yes, and Tom even proposed trading it for a marriage license. She had spent the whole night thinking on a tiny balcony bed, ultimately realizing she wouldn't yield this time. She chose to break away from them, desiring nothing to do with any of it. Reddish leaves, blazing like fire, adorned the chilly roads as Lily strolled. Her solitary form was encircled by blue-collar folks cycling back home, smiles of happiness on their faces. The vibrant world seemed mismatched with her. Then, a vehicle stopped, obstructing her path. "Get in," someone said. The window lowered, displaying a cold, attractive face. It was Tom, sounding irritated, wanting an explanation to the school. Lily stayed quiet, intending to explain, but not the way Tom wanted, giving away her Peking University spot. She was going where Tom couldn't follow. Before Lily could answer, Mia peeked out from the back seat. Flaunting a bunch of items, Mia said, "Cousin, see what Big Brother got for me? Clothes, shoes, and a radio. He mentioned that if I attend Peking University, I shouldn't feel inferior." Lily's eyes fell on the pendant around Mia's neck, her face paling, her heart feeling stabbed. It was a memento from Lily's grandmother, a symbol of affection for Tom. She never thought Tom would indulge Mia to the extent of giving it away. Tom saw Lily's gaze, a fleeting embarrassment in his eyes, quickly replaced by calm. Mia took a liking to it. It wasn't that important. "When we're married, I'll get you a better one," he said. Bitterness filled Lily's heart. The pendant wasn't costly, but it represented love. Sadly, Tom had trivialized it. It made sense. Tom had never truly loved her, so why would he value it? Mia, sensing the topic of marriage, displayed intense envy, pretending to be upset and starting to weep. "Brother, cousin looks unhappy. Is she upset I took her Peking University place?" "I'm sorry, it's my fault. I shouldn't have accepted it. No wonder I'm not wanted," she added. Tom couldn't bear seeing Mia distressed. His expression turned grim, glaring at Lily. "Mia's had it hard. You have so much, why compete with her?" He quickly reassured Mia, stroking her head. "But don't worry, the Peking University spot is yours. Nobody's taking it. You go home and consider this. Apologize to Mia when you understand, or I won't forgive you." With that, he sped off, leaving behind a cloud of dirt and fumes. Mia displayed a prideful grin, provoking Lily. Her coughing fit resulted in tears rolling down. See, she hadn't uttered or done a thing, yet everything was her fault. Lily stood there for a long while. A single leaf fell on her shoulder, and the thin fabric brought an icy sensation. Her parents had favored her cousin to such a degree that she had nowhere to turn. Tom had once declared that as long as he was there, she'd never be without love. Too bad even the man who vowed to shield her forever had transformed. The sky turned gray. Lily wiped her tears, retrieving a white, creamy treat from her pocket. Smiling bitterly, the candy was a treasure she had held onto for ages, a gift from Tom. He had said that when she was down, candy would sweeten life a bit. Lily had never had the courage to consume it, keeping it until now. But now, it was expired, much like Tom's love, turning into refuse. Lily threw the candy into the sewer, along with her prejudiced parents and her disloyal boyfriend. She wanted none of it. When she reached home, she heard laughter inside. She gazed at the sky. The sunset clouds resembled a sneering face, mocking her lonesome shadow. Since her parents brought Mia home, Lily had always felt like an outsider. Just because her uncle had rescued her, she had to constantly yield, from toys and clothes to her parents' affection, and now her boyfriend. She felt like a spirit, haunting this existence silently. Standing by the door, the laughter within pierced her heart like a sharp blade, bleeding onto the floor, forming a large shadow that consumed her. Lily opened the door and the merriment stopped. Her presence seemed to disrupt their joyful family moment. Mrs. William glanced at her, pointing to a small chair. There was a dish of rice with a few vegetables on it. Meanwhile, their table had fish, meat, and beef. Her parents always claimed her cousin needed nutrients to develop, giving her the finest, compelling Lily to sacrifice. Now, all she had was a rundown tiny bed on the balcony, consuming leftovers. They never considered that being just 6 months older than Mia, Lily required nourishment too. Getting up, Mrs. William intentionally placed a piece of fish in Lily's bowl, smiling. "This is your favorite. Sit and eat." Lily answered flatly, "Mom, I'm allergic to fish." "My cousin's the one who enjoys it." Mrs. William, unlike before, didn't express impatience or scold her for being problematic. Instead, she looked kindly. "Did you tell the school? Let your cousin have the spot. Your grades are good. You can try again next year." Lily remained silent. Mrs. Williams' expression shifted and she said sternly, "How can you decline? You owe your cousin a life. Giving up your spot is nothing. You should be reasonable." No matter how often it occurred, Mrs. Williams' favoritism always wounded Lily deeply. Mr. Williams set down his eating utensils and smacked Lily hard across the face, viewing her as an adversary. "How did I bring up such an ungrateful child? If you disagree, leave this house. I have no child like you." Lily's head spun, a red mark appearing on her cheek, as her parents' furious gazes cut into her, making her quiver, tears flowing down her face. Mia lamented, "Don't pressure Cousin Lily, please. I feel awful. Maybe I'm just not meant for studies. It's not her fault, it's because nobody values me." The parents quickly soothed her, promising that Lily would surrender her spot and purchase her numerous presents. Mia ceased crying and glanced at Lily's pale face. "Cousin, I never intended to take anything from you. If you're bothered, I can depart." Mr. William, enraged, glared at Lily. "Are you satisfied now? The house is in disarray because of you. Apologize to your cousin." Wiping blood from her mouth, Lily observed everyone around her, perceiving them as they plotted ways to undermine her. Just as Mr. William was about to strike her again, Tom intervened. Lily already consented to relinquish her place. She informed the school today. Only then did her parents ease a bit, giving a dismissive grunt. Mrs. William pondered and then addressed Lily. "You should be more sensible. Since your cousin is attending school, you'll work to fund her tuition. Remember, it's what you owe her." Lily stared blankly at Mrs. William, unable to comprehend how the woman who birthed her could utter such harsh words. Mrs. William, unfazed by her daughter's response, instructed in an undeniable tone, "After the summer, start working. You're just occupying space at home." Her parents nodded in agreement. They began planning a celebration for Mia, as attending Peking University was a significant event for the family. Nobody paid attention to Lily. Her presence was like that of a garbage bin, utilized when necessary and discarded without a second thought. Lily didn't know when she found herself lying in bed, her heart numb from suffering. Staying in this uncaring household suffocated her, her moist, musty linens, in use for over 10 years, barely covered half her body. Mia, on the other hand, had a radiant, expansive room filled with toys and sweets from the local shop. Lily slept on a cramped, rain-exposed balcony for a decade, enduring storms, winters, and snowfall. Though it was a warm summer, she felt completely chilled inside, gazing at the night sky. Lily mused that in a month she'd depart from this loveless place. If this family didn't need her, she'd vanish for good. That night, Lily had a dream. In her dream, her parents affectionately held her close, eyes overflowing with love. Her brother Tom, 2 years older, pinched her cheek, calling her adorable. She didn't wish to awaken from the coziness, but as Mia emerged like a nightmare, her parents' faces turned hideous, and they yelled at her while Tom walked away further and further. Lily sobbed, imploring them not to desert her, but a chasm below engulfed her into hopelessness. Her parents and Tom didn't look back, walking off with Mia, abandoning her in infinite darkness. Fireworks outside roused Lily. Her pillow was damp with tears. She believed she was beyond being wounded by them, but deep down she yearned for affection and acknowledgement. It was merely a dream. A vehicle pulled into the yard, and seeing the tall man exit, Lily quickly went downstairs. Lily, I heard you got into Peking University. Well done. The tall man was Tom's father, a longtime family friend who owed his life to Mr. William. Because of that, they arranged a childhood marriage. Robert was the sole person genuinely kind to Lily. He ruffled her hair, glancing at his son beside him, nodding. At least you did one good thing. Setting off fireworks for Lily. Tom frowned. Dad, they're not for Lily. She gave up Peking University for Mia, who promises to work hard and won't disappoint. Robert's expression darkened as he was about to reprimand him, but was halted by Lily, forcing a smile. Lily said, Uncle, you just arrived. Rest up. I'll explain later. She didn't want Robert to push too hard, which could reveal her intentions to attend the National Defense University for a covert program. She simply desired a peaceful departure without additional entanglements. Robert's expression shifted, giving his son a stern look before storming off. Alone were Lily and Tom. Tom, expressionless, said, Don't mention our engagement to my dad yet. Also, give a logical explanation for the university spot. Got it? Lily lowered her head, murmuring in agreement, displaying minimal emotion. Tom, noble enough to wed someone he didn't love to aid Mia in attending university, was truly admirable. Mia is sensitive. Don't bring up the engagement to her. You still haven't apologized for yesterday. Why? Tom questioned before Lily could reply. Mia's leaving for Peking University soon. Give her some material and ration coupons as a gesture of genuine blessing. Seeing Tom consistently prioritize Mia made Lily feel stifled, as if bearing a massive weight. Do you believe I still possess those coupons? With all your affection and my parents' affection, what else does she lack? Tom was taken aback, finally recalling Lily's circumstance, a complex look crossing his face. Don't fret. Since I vowed to marry you, I won't renege. Tom could only console Lily with the notion of marriage. Are you truly going to marry our cousin? Tom's expression altered dramatically. He peered sharply toward the front door. There was Mia, leaning on the doorframe, face ashen and full of agony. It's not like that. Tom didn't even get a chance to elucidate before Mia began striking her head against the wall, appearing anguished. I don't desire you to marry our cousin. I like you too. Mia appeared utterly distraught. Tom panicked, swiftly pushing Lily aside and holding Mia. Their parents hurried out, expressions turning grave at the sight of Mia. The three of them rushed Mia into the car and headed to the hospital. Before departing, Tom shot a frosty glance at Lily, his voice frigid. Did you see that? You did that to incite Mia, didn't you? I didn't think you could be so sneaky. Seeing Tom's look of loathing, it felt like a hefty blow to Lily's chest. Whatever Mia desired, the family would rally around her, and all errors seemed to land on Lily. Images of Tom's enraged face kept flashing in her mind. Lily told herself not to weep over a man who didn't love her, but she couldn't halt the tears from descending. Mia's little schemes were simple enough to discern if one paid attention. Tom used to dislike how the family favored Mia, and during Lily's bleakest times, he'd take her from the house, declaring to the entire neighborhood that nobody could mistreat Lily anymore. Back then, Tom was so kind to Lily, lavishing her with gifts, but at some juncture that shifted. He went from disliking Mia to feeling pity for her. Mia always seemed to outshine Lily, seizing everything away. Lily observed the car drive away, tears falling unrestrained. This was the final time she'd cry for Tom, and the last time she'd feel sorrowful about this loveless family. From now on, she'd live for herself, utilizing her youth to contribute to her nation. Lily went back home and commenced packing up the items on her tiny balcony. There were boxes filled with all the gifts Tom had given her, everything from dolls to a piece of autumn foliage. She treasured them, refusing to discard them. But now they were merely junk to her. Lily amassed all the gifts and ignited them in the yard, interring her love for Tom in the blaze. Just as the gifts were nearly all consumed, Tom entered the yard and witnessed the scene. His expression shifted, and a strong sense of dread arose within him. His voice quivered slightly as he looked at Lily, bewildered. "Lily, these are the gifts I gave you. Why are you burning them?" Something seemed to slip beyond his grasp, leaving him inexplicably apprehensive. Lily watched the puppets incinerate until they transformed into a heap of charcoal, then slowly turned her head, meeting his gaze with a very composed expression. At that moment, Tom felt like the girl before him was fading away. Lily inhaled deeply, and as the gifts turned to cinders, something in her heart finally released. She no longer cared whom her parents favored or whom Tom cherished. None of it was relevant to her anymore. She would forge her own path. "The gifts were decaying, so I'm burning them," Lily stated, desiring to tell Tom outright that she no longer loved him. But with a little over 20 days until she could move on, she chose to hold back. Tom felt consoled and nodded. "It's just as well. They weren't valuable anyway. I can acquire new ones for you after we wed." Lily grinned, but they wouldn't be marrying, and there was no afterward. Tom, presuming Lily had no other options and wouldn't truly depart, reverted to his usual superior demeanor, frowning unhappily. "Don't sulk constantly. Mia lost her parents and has depression. She can't be upset. You have everything. There's no need to strive for it." Lily couldn't help but chuckle, a hint of mockery in her tone, as she inquired, "What do I possess precisely? My parents' affection? My boyfriend's focus? Even a respectable piece of attire?" Mia seized everything away, and Tom couldn't endure Lily's grievances, growing impatient. "Don't you have parents in me? Mia's in the hospital in agony. You should apologize to her." Lily thought she must have misheard. Mia's depression was clearly a sham, but everyone pretended not to notice. Her voice turned frosty. "She's got my parents with her, your care, and a whole team of medical personnel. Why would I be needed?" Tom became furious. "How can you be so callous? You gave Mia depression. Regardless, as her cousin, you should be more forgiving. If you don't recognize your errors, it's because we've indulged you excessively. Lily, don't say I didn't offer you a chance. If you don't go to the hospital, we might have to postpone the marriage." With that, he stormed off, seemingly utilizing the pledge of matrimony as a menace to make her comply unconditionally. Lily didn't respond, observing the car depart with a sense of tranquility. Back home, she began packing to leave, but realized there was nothing worth taking in the large house. At night, her parents returned, not giving Lily a cordial look, seemingly blaming her for distressing Mia. Mrs. William approached, looking solemn. "Lily, let go of Tom. Mia likes him too, and she's threatening suicide in the hospital. You're her cousin. You should be the bigger person." Even knowing Mrs. Williams' blatant favoritism toward Mia, Lily didn't anticipate it to be so brazen. Her words struck like an icy breeze in the summer heat. Lily's expression was numb, locking eyes with her mother, her voice hoarse. "Mom, I'm your child. You always said to yield to Mia. Haven't I done enough? Anything new at home, the meat at the table, new clothes for New Year, my room, everything went to her. I relinquished Beijing University, and now I must surrender Tom too. Did she genuinely say she wished me dead, and I should simply tear out my heart to give it to her? Mom, am I even your offspring?" Lily couldn't restrain her fury anymore and posed the query that scorched in her soul. Mrs. Williams slapped Lily across the face, disappointment etched all over her face. "That's your cousin. She lost her dad because of you. Haven't you got enough already? Your dad was right. You're ungrateful. You're going to give in whether you like it or you're not my daughter." Mrs. William left these harsh words hanging in the air as she turned and walked away. Lily leaned against the door frame. The setting sun above felt like a mocking face, making her feel like the world's biggest joke. In their eyes, she had been so blessed. Before long, Tom returned to the yard and got straight to the point. "Lily, Mia's mental state is really bad right now, so we're delaying the marriage registration." She wasn't suggesting, she was ordering. Lily, who had accumulated enough disappointment, wasn't saddened anymore. Lily pulled a pale face, took one serious breath, and said, word by word, fine. Tom didn't expect Lily to agree so easily without making a scene. He stood there stunned for what felt like a long time. Lily wasn't looking at Tom. Her gaze fell on the plane tree outside the yard, remembering when she was 11 years old. Mia framed her, and her parents beat her black and blue, left her at the family's mercy, and kicked her out. She cried underneath that tree, all alone and desperate. It was Tom who came to her, offering his hand and a gentle smile. Come home with me. Back then, he stood tall and confident, like a ray of light piercing her dark world, bringing hope into Lily's life. Tom had hoped she would get into Peking University and achieve her dreams, so when the college entrance exams came back in '78, Lily secretly worked hard and finally got the admission to Peking University. She thought she could always follow Tom's steps and be together forever. Now, it all seemed like an illusion. The Tom in front of her had changed, pushing her to compromise every step of the way, all for Mia, for love's sake, to marry someone he didn't even love. Wow, what a great love. When Tom announced the delay in their registration, Lily's heart was calm, without expectations. The delay would undoubtedly lead to broken promises. When that time came, she would lose her chance to study, and Tom wouldn't marry her. That was a certainty. Fortunately, she kept her spot at Peking University. In just over 20 days, she'd leave this place full of sadness for the National Defense University, cutting ties with them completely. Lily, don't overthink it. Since I promised you, I won't go back on my word. The main issue is Mia's mental instability, and I don't want to upset her. Tom was unsettled by Lily's calm demeanor and attempted to explain. Lily withdrew her gaze from the plane tree and suddenly asked, Brother, do you remember when we were 11? What you promised me under that tree? Tom's face changed slightly, as if recalling something. A flash of guilt crossed his eyes, but just as he was about to speak, a guard came rushing over, looking worried. Tom, the hospital just called. She hurt herself again. Tom furrowed his eyebrows and bolted into the car, no longer able to spare a thought for Lily. Watching the Jeep speed away, Lily turned and went back into her room. The small balcony had nothing much, burnt gifts from Tom and a few worn clothes. It was as if, aside from her own life, the family hadn't given her anything. At one time, they had given her a lot, but that had all gone to Mia. Tom was gone for a week. During these days, her parents were at Maya's side at the hospital. Lily enjoyed the peace, not needing to see Mia's sick face, or face her parents' favoritism. She reached out to Robert, wishing to train her body and better prepare for the National Defense University. Since she chose to study encryption, she would face significant dangers in the future. Robert didn't think twice, feeling she was motivated, and taught her without reservation. Another week passed, and one day, Lily was training in the yard, covered in sweat but glowing with energy. She cut off her long, black hair. Tom once said he liked gentle and virtuous girls, so she kept that long, flowing hair on purpose. Now she didn't need to go to Peking University for Tom, but lived solely for herself. By cutting her hair, she felt renewed. Robert looked at her, deeply moved, and thought this was the spirit of a female soldier. Robert, though unsure why Lily was training, vaguely sensed something but didn't pry. The young should handle their issues themselves, yet his old friends were ridiculously biased. Often on missions outside, he found it hard to intervene. If Lily needed help, he wouldn't mind lending a hand. The calm was eventually shattered by Mia's return home. Lily was striking a martial pose in the yard and looked up to see her parents and Tom chatting and laughing as they surrounded Mia, who was clinging to Tom intimately, occasionally nuzzling him. Her parents looked away, pretending not to notice, even pleased. Tom didn't protest but felt Lily's gaze, then pushed Mia away in haste. Mia's eyes immediately welled with tears. Brother, do you resent me? Tom looked embarrassed and let Mia cling back. Mia entered the house, throwing a taunting and mocking look at Lily. Lily remained calm, as if the four of them had nothing to do with her, focusing on her training. An hour slipped by without her noticing, and Lily finished her workout with a deep breath. A rare summer breeze blew and she closed her eyes, soaking in the rare comfort in the yard. National Defense University! At that moment, hearing a trembling voice behind her, Lily opened her eyes to see Tom holding a magazine, a flicker of panic in his gaze. Tom had escorted Mia back to her room and noticing a National Defense University magazine on the small balcony bed felt a wave of unease. He hurried downstairs to question Lily. Why are you looking into National Defense University? At Tom's interrogation, Lily stayed calm, not answering right away, and instead grabbed a towel to wipe her sweat. Speak up, Tom said, gripping Lily's hand with a slight tremble, as if he was losing something precious. Lily gently pulled away from the hand she once longed to hold, feeling no emotion at this point. She smiled casually, just looking around. Tom studied Lily's eyes, thinking she appeared honest and wouldn't lie to him. Feeling relieved, he nodded, agreeing. Nothing much to see, really. With your health, you're not fit for the National Defense University. You're better off studying for the college entrance exam next year. You've got good grades. There's always a chance. Lily shrugged it off. Do you actually think I have a chance? My parents want me to work over the summer to support my cousin's education. I'll be leaving soon. Tom's expression changed, caught between words. He felt guilty. His tone softened. Don't worry, I won't let you work. He reassured. Money's not a problem. I've set aside enough for Mia's education. Lily smirked to herself. Just look at that. Tom covered all bases for Mia, even preparing tuition fees, taking away her Beijing University spot without hesitation. She saw the panic in Tom, but she didn't think it was love, just guilt. Her parents would force her to work if Mia made a fuss, and Tom would stay silent. But she stopped caring a while ago. Seeing her quiet, Tom thought she was jealous and touched her head. He noticed her new hairstyle, a stark contrast to her former sweet and gentle look. Although Lily was right there, it felt like she was slipping away. Tom felt out of control. Lily, I will marry you. Believe me, it's just a matter of time, Tom promised steadfastly. Before, Lily would have been thrilled, but now she just replied, "Oh," with common indifference, unsettling Tom even more. From the second-floor balcony, Mia watched them, eyes filled with resentment. That night, Lily went to bed early, not wanting to see her parents' doting affection for Mia. Plus, training wore her out. She left home for school early the next morning. At the instructor's office, she met a stern, dignified woman in uniform who introduced herself as a professor from the National Defense University's decryption department. She was there on a mission and to take Lily to the university later. The decryption department was special with early recruitment, not following regular procedures. Professors personally escort students to a secretive training place. After organizing everything, the professor said she'd return in a week to get Lily. As Lily walked home, she thought about the professor in uniform and felt inspired. She hoped to study hard and serve her country, becoming like her. Her home was cold and loveless, but Lily found new hope in anticipating her future at the National Defense University. Returning home as dusk fell, with her parents nowhere to be seen, Lily went inside. Mia sat on her small bed, looking down at her cousin. It seems Tom likes me more, Mia sneered. See, whatever I want of yours becomes mine. Why stay in this house? You should just die. Lily, having newfound hope, wasn't fazed by Mia's taunts. Mia had expected to provoke a breakdown to see her collapse in despair like before and relished it. But now, Lily's calmness left Mia dissatisfied. Absently recalling Tom's promise to Lily earlier, Mia grew envious. Even self-harm didn't change that. Tom only delayed his commitment to Lily instead of truly making Mia his own. In frustration, Mia escalated her provocation, with madness in her eyes. Mia grabbed Lily, whispering coldly, "What if you push me in jealousy? Who would they believe?" Lily's face changed, and as she tried to break free, Mia pushed her down the stairs. "Help! Don't kill me!" Mia cried out, banging her head against the wall, leaving her face bloody before collapsing next to Lily. Falling from the second floor, Lily hit the ground hard, struggling to breathe from the pain. Mia's screams soon brought her parents and Tom running to them. Without pause, her father kicked Lily's stomach in rage. "How could you do this to Mia?" Stunned, Lily looked at her parents' angry faces, swallowing all her explanations. She shut her eyes, feeling like a knife had stabbed her heart. Her father's contempt squeezed through clenched teeth. "Didn't think you'd be so evil, trying to kill out of jealousy. You're worse than a crook. You're no daughter of mine." Mr. William, eyes blazing, kicked her repeatedly. Mrs. William cradled Mia, crying, "I only stepped out for a moment, and now this happened." "Mia, hang in there. I'm taking you to the hospital." Mia, bloody-faced but mostly with surface wounds, wailed, wrenching her parents' and Tom's hearts. But out of their view, she shot Lily a cruel smirk. Lily, bashed and bruised, hurt far worse than Mia. Her injuries and repeated kicks curled her like a shrimp, but nothing matched the hurt in her heart. Her parents never believed her. Words seemed useless. Their loyalty to Mia was absolute. Minutes passed before Lily slowly stood, pale and trembling, meeting Tom's disappointed gaze. Mia was crying pathetically. "Cousin, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have clung to my brother and asked him to stay with me. I know you hate me, and if my death would make you happy, I'll give my life to you. No need to make my aunt, uncle, and brother sad." Lily stared at Mia coldly, watching her act, then glanced at her parents' angry faces and felt darkness and despair engulf her. She was used to loneliness and sadness. She planned to let her parents and Tom go, not wanting her trashy relatives anymore. Why did Mia keep framing her? Tom slapped Lily across the face. His voice was icy. "I've said that we'd get married. Why are you harming Mia? She's sad enough. Do you want to push her to death?" A red mark appeared on Lily's cheek, with blood at the corner of her mouth. She blankly stared at Tom. Like her parents, he blindly believed Mia. In their eyes, she was the villain. Lily wanted to explain to Tom, thinking he might at least have doubts, but now it seemed unnecessary. Tom shook his head, looking disappointed. "Your actions are chilling. How can I marry someone who uses such underhanded tactics? Lily, you're really disappointing." The three of them didn't glance at Lily again and took Mia to the hospital. Mia turned back and smiled at Lily, a smile like a devil crawling out of hell. As the car disappeared, Lily couldn't hold on anymore, spat a mouthful of blood, and collapsed. The night was deep and cold with frost. Lily regained consciousness, her body numb. She crawled home, rested in bed for a few hours to regain some strength, and treated her own injuries. The night was as cold as water, but not as cold as her frozen heart. Her parents' and Tom's actions were like a dull knife, stabbing a big hole in her heart. Her already fragmented mental world collapsed again. Lily was like a wounded puppy, licking her wounds on the dark balcony. She had no more tears. Her feelings were numb, just a shell without a soul. She hoped time would pass quickly, not wanting to stay in this heartless house that felt like it could swallow her any time. Lying in bed and looking at the night sky, she missed her deceased grandma, the only person who truly loved her. Half asleep, a bucket of cold water woke her. Before she could open her eyes, a strong grip dragged her to the living room. Her parents and Tom returned with Mia. Although her injuries were only superficial to them, Lily's actions were unforgivable. Mr. William kicked her heart, his expression dark. "Lily, kneel and apologize to Mia now. If she doesn't forgive you, you're not my daughter." The icy home, the unfeeling relatives, Lily's heart, already full of holes, broke further. Her gaze swept over everyone. Her parents' hateful faces, Tom's disappointed eyes, and Mia's smug grin. These were the people she was closest to, yet they hurt her repeatedly, harsher than any enemy. Clearly, Mia was framing her, but she was being forced to apologize. In the past, to win back their love and approval, Lily would compromise, but now she despised her identity. Why was she born into such a heartless family? Seeing her stubbornness, Mr. William was furious, kicking her again and shouting, "Do you really think you're not wrong?" Lily staggered and fell, spitting blood again. Tom looked slightly unsettled, wanting to help her, but he thought Lily deserved some punishment for what she did. He stopped Mr. Williams, shaking his head slightly. Only then did Mr. Williams stop. Lily's eyes flickered, thinking Tom might help her, but his next words made her want to laugh bitterly. Tom frowned, his expression indifferent. "With how you are now, you're not fit to marry me. If Mia weren't tough, she'd be dead. As punishment, our marriage has to be delayed. And to make it up to Mia, I'll have a wedding with her first." Lily trembled, looking at Tom incredulously. What kind of punishment was this? Tom sensed Lily's mocking look, feeling guilty and angry. It's not a real marriage. I just want to make it up to Mia. Her parents and Tom watched Lily defensively, standing in front of Mia in case Lily lashed out. But they were disappointed. Lily didn't get angry or stop them. Instead, she smiled brightly, spat some more blood, and grinned. Congrats, then, to my cousin and cousin-in-law. If that's all, I'm off to rest. Lily moved with difficulty, almost dragging herself to the balcony, not wanting to look at them again. Mia wiped her tears, pretending to be pitiful. Cousin, will you come to my wedding with brother? Though it's just for show, I'd be happy. I hope for your blessing. Mr. Williams snorted. Don't worry, even if she doesn't want to come, I'll drag her there. Does she think she can do wrong and not pay? Mrs. Williams shouted at her daughter's back. If you don't come, then get out of this house. Tom didn't know why, but he felt uneasy, not seeing Lily's usual jealous reaction. They weren't really getting married, just for show. In his heart, Lily lost herself to jealousy and couldn't continue making mistakes. If this taught her a lesson, maybe there was hope. After the wedding, he'd talk to her again. But the title cousin-in-law and the relieved smile on her face felt like a thorn, piercing his heart. Why did it feel like this? After that, the three didn't bother with Lily. They didn't care. If she died falling from the stairs or if she ran away. Lily cared deeply about her family and loved Tom with all her heart, but now she felt she had nowhere to go. For the next 3 days, Lily stayed home to heal instead of causing a scene. Her parents and Tom were happily preparing for an extravagant wedding at a state-run hotel, something extraordinary for those times. Her parents spared no expense to make Mia happy. On the wedding day, Lily was ready early, waiting for her instructors from the National Defense University to pick her up. Her parents and Mia had already gone to the hotel to entertain guests. Tom, because of his special status, wasn't wearing a suit and went over to Lily. Lily, come with me later. Tom promised confidently. Mia and I are just going through the motions. We're not actually getting married. Trust me, I'll still marry you. Just like when she was 11, sitting outside under the sycamore tree after being kicked out by her parents, Tom had been her hope. But that's all changed now. Lily replied calmly with a simple, mm-hmm. Tom sighed in relief, worried that Lily might cause a scene at the wedding. She seemed to have learned a lesson. Maybe she'll behave now. But, as Tom insisted on taking Lily to the hotel, he noticed she didn't react the way he expected, feeling a bit unsettled. Lily remained unruffled, responding to every question like Tom was a stranger, not her beloved fiancé. As Tom attempted to force her into the car, the guard arrived, saying they couldn't wait any longer at the hotel. Tom had to let go, instructing Lily to show up or they'd never get married. Watching Tom leave in a hurry, Lily picked up her woven bag and walked out of the yard. The moment Tom's car drove away, the university car arrived to pick her up. The instructor asked if she wanted to say goodbye to her family. Lily glanced back at the yard, a place filled with 15 years of pain where she no longer wanted to stay. She was fed up with biased parents and a betraying fiancé. No need, Lily said, quickly getting into the car. Going to the National Defense University, her identity would be erased and she would live anonymously forever. The rest of her life, she wouldn't be her parents' daughter or Tom's wife. She wanted to be herself, serving her country. The car drove past the state-run hotel. Through the window, Lily saw her family welcoming guests. Her parents and Mia looked genuinely happy, and Tom seemed shy but a bit eager. They appeared perfect together. As the car slowly left, the 4 figures at the hotel gradually faded from view. Lily was about to start a life of her own. Standing at the hotel entrance, Tom felt a sudden premonition, looking up suddenly to see the Jeep carrying Lily driving off. For some reason, unease crept into his heart. The William family parents were proudly telling everyone about their double joy. Mia not only got into Peking University, but was marrying the most handsome man in the compound. It made Tom uncomfortable. Whether it was the university spot or marriage, those should belong to Lily. He only agreed to help Mia out of necessity, but the family's attitude seemed to take it all for granted. Mia clung to Tom and searched the crowd for Lily, feeling wronged. Where's my cousin? She promised to come with blessings. Is she mad, unwilling to see me happy? I should have apologized to her on my knees. Mia's pitiful act only fueled the parents' already simmering anger. Mr. William grumbled about Lily, and Mrs. William nodded in agreement, saying Lily was ungrateful and should have attended such an important day. They decided Lily should have shown more tolerance on Mia's big day. Mia added fuel to the fire, pretending to be sad, suggesting Lily might have feelings for her brother, and claiming she never meant to take Tom for real. I just wanted a wedding for the fun of it. After it, she can have him back. If she's mad, let's call off the wedding, she suggested, feigning kindness that only enraged the parents further. Mia was satisfied, thinking of Lily's despair as the family cursed her. Tom outside grew increasingly irritated. He'd only agreed to the wedding to fulfill Mia's wish, not really marrying her. He assumed Lily would be understanding about it, but images of Lily's indifferent face kept popping into his mind. With the wedding about to start and no sign of Lily, Tom couldn't wait any longer and walked out. Mia stopped him. "Brother, are you leaving me?" Tom turned sharply to look at Mia, his gaze piercing. At that moment, Mia was truly frightened, unused to seeing such fierceness in his eyes. Tom was restless, feeling something was wrong, and was convinced he needed to go back. "I'm going to get her," he said, ignoring Mia's crocodile tears. Rushing back, Tom realized he should have properly explained to Lily that it wasn't a real marriage, just an act. Speeding back, he ran into the yard straight to the balcony, calling out, "Lily, don't be mad. Everyone's waiting for you." He yanked the curtain aside, revealing the small balcony, now spotless. The folding bed discarded in the corner, and the solitary study table was in the center, with a note on top. It read, "I don't want this family anymore. Tom, goodbye forever." Just 2 short lines, but it felt like a sledgehammer pounding on his heart. Tom tried to keep his panic at bay, convincing himself Lily must be joking. She wouldn't leave. In his mind, Lily had nowhere else to go, and couldn't bear to leave her parents and him. Tom knew Lily well. She endured so many grievances just to stay close to her parents, craving their love. But everything in front of him now made him extremely uneasy. Desperate, Tom searched the yard. As time went on, he was alarmed to find that anything associated with Lily was gone. Gone was the begonia she planted for him when they were 15. Gone were the red ribbons from the swing, where she once prayed for him at 17. Tom hurried to the sycamore tree outside the yard. He remembered Lily loved sitting under that tree, burying her deepest secrets in the soil. Her longing for her parents' love and her secret crush on Tom all lay beneath that tree, sealed in a small jar. But the scene he saw shocked him like a bolt of lightning. The dirt was dug up, the jar shattered, and its contents turned to ash. That's when Tom realized the grave truth. Lily was truly gone. Tom squatted by the sycamore tree, staring at the ashes in a daze. Lily's departure had long been foreshadowed, but nobody cared to notice. A child, unloved, leaves with such decisiveness. She burned the gifts she gave him and destroyed beautiful memories, taking nothing, not even a sycamore leaf. Tom only had a sham marriage to Mia to fulfill someone else's wish. He never planned to abandon Lily. Why did she leave then? Till now, Tom couldn't understand. He only felt the summer air stifling, pressing hard on his chest. A hot wind blew by, scattering sycamore leaves. Tom glanced up blankly, seeing the past. A young girl abandoned by her family, crying under the tree. He reached out a hand, smiling, saying, "You won't be alone anymore." That night, under the cool moonlight, there was light in Lily's eyes. But at some point, she became numb again, like a living corpse, reverting to her old self. Maybe it was when he offered to exchange a marriage license for Mia's admission into Peking University. He remembered Lily's shocked expression then. Secretly, Tom had always known about Lily's crush, but refrained from responding, worried about gossip. Until the William family came to him, asking him to convince Lily to give up her spot at Peking University for Mia. Tom knew he shouldn't. He understood how important the university was to Lily, but he irrationally suggested the exchange, as a convenient excuse to marry. He never expected Lily to agree so readily. Tom figured Lily was brilliant. She'd score just as well next year, people would have nothing to say, and they could be together like normal. But Lily seemed to misunderstand, choosing to abandon everything and leave. "She can't have gone far. Tom stood up suddenly, realizing she had nowhere else to go. He pulled all his connections, searched every bus and train station, determined to find her. But half a day passed, and despite involving the entire security team, there was no trace of Lily. It was as though she'd vanished into thin air. The incident caught Robert's attention. His son's misuse of power was a serious issue back then. He rushed home and, seeing Tom's dejected figure at the door, swallowed his anger with a sigh. Robert had some idea of his son's thoughts. First, canceling the search for Lily to prevent a bigger blunder, then sharing his guess. Lily went to study. Tom looked up, shocked. The Peking University notice won't come for another half-month. Robert sneered. Who said Lily went to Peking University? She applied to the National Defense University. Tom felt as if he'd been struck, his body trembling. Robert couldn't stand his son's despondency, remembering how Lily was treated over the years. Disappointed, he said, I don't get why you're upset now. When she was around, you didn't cherish her. Now that she's gone, who are you pretending for? Was her leaving not because you all drove her away? Robert's words shook Tom. He opened his mouth to refute, but couldn't utter a word. Memories flooded in. How the William family blatantly favored Mia over Lily, causing her unbearable pain. He should have been Lily's guiding light, yet he did nothing. Not only did he stay silent, but he also became part of the problem. Suddenly, he recalled 3 days ago when Mia claimed Lily pushed her down the stairs. Lily looked at him expectant, hoping for a trace of kindness. Yet Tom instantly believed Mia and even slapped Lily, shattering all her hopes. Robert knew no words would reach his son now and didn't bother trying. Considering the William families and their son's actions, Lily should have left sooner. She was a good kid, but only distance from her family would bring her happiness. Robert had offered help before, but she stubbornly hoped for change from her parents, which never came, leading to more misfortune. If it were me, I'd have left long ago, Robert snapped before storming off. As head of security, he had no time for family drama. Tom remained in the living room, replaying Lily's reactions recently. Maybe since that exchange offer, her hopes died. He remembered that night when Lily seriously asked, "Do you still remember your promise?" Tom crouched on the ground, holding his head painfully, regretting deeply. The night air was as cool as water. Footsteps echoed from outside as Mrs. William burst into the house looking frantic. Tom, Mia thinks you don't want her anymore, so she went crazy at the restaurant. You? Tom listened to Mrs. William go on and on, all worried about Mia, feeling overwhelmed inside. He suddenly looked up. What's the use of her going crazy looking for me? You only have eyes for Mia? Do you even know where your own daughter went? Mrs. Williams' face was full of shock and a bit of awkwardness. What? What are you saying? How can you say I don't care about Lily? She's my daughter. Tom stared hard at Mrs. William, searching for any hint of concern in her eyes, but found none. She had always been impatient with Lily. Feeling utterly disappointed, Tom looked out the window and said softly, Lily went to school. She's not coming back. Mrs. Williams' expression changed dramatically, grabbing Tom's hand, her eyes flaring with anger. What school? She agreed to give up her spot at Peking University for Mia. No, wait, the acceptance letter isn't supposed to come for another 2 weeks. That girl was always up to no good, just loved lying. When she comes home, I must teach her a lesson. Tom felt a chill for Lily, saddened by the fact that she had left, yet her own mother still complained. He suddenly ran out of patience, shrugged off Mrs. Williams' grip, and said indifferently, Lily went to the National Defense University, not Peking University. Mrs. Williams' face twisted with rage as she hurled insults. How dare she go to the National Defense University? And what about Mia? We've already announced the celebration banquet. What's Lily thinking, trying to ruin things for Mia? No way. You need to get her back, make her give up the Peking spot. She clutched onto Tom, trying to drag him outside, as if Lily had committed some unforgivable act. Tom intended to break free, but one sentence made him go silent. Mia slit her wrists, lost a lot of blood. Tom hesitated, helpless, and followed Mrs. William to the hospital. It was partly his fault for leaving, causing Mia's breakdown. He bore some responsibility. On the way, he planned to tell Mia the truth once she was stable, that he wouldn't be involved in her affairs anymore. All he wanted was to find Lily and tell her the truth. When they reached the hospital room's door and were about to enter, they heard Mia singing. She didn't seem depressed at all, sounded like she was in high spirits. For some reason, Tom felt there was something off about Mia. He recalled Lily saying her cousin faked depression, wasn't really sick, just wanted to take what was hers. Before, Tom thought Lily was being unreasonable, jealous, and lying about Mia. Now that she left, he couldn't help but rethink everything. Tom gestured for Mrs. William to wait. He wanted to hear what Mia was saying. Mr. William had gone to get water, leaving Mia alone in the room. She didn't show any signs of illness, sitting cross-legged on the bed with a smug grin. That brat's probably furious now. I got their parents, her university spot's mine, and even her fiancé's mine now. It's just a fake marriage, but if I make a fuss, those two fools would definitely force him to stay. Once I have him and get pregnant, would he dare to break the engagement? I'm just too smart. Even though her voice was low, the room was quiet, and the two outside heard everything. Mrs. William was dumbfounded. She couldn't believe her ears. Tom clenched his fist so hard, a wave of fury swept through him. What did he just hear? Mia was pretending to be sick, admitting she wanted to take everything from Lily, the parents first, then the university spot, and, finally, him. Tom felt a chill down his spine, realizing there were truly malicious people in the world. She called Lily brat and their parents fools. Was this really the sweet, obedient Mia they knew? Tom turned to look at Mrs. William, feeling a profound sadness. She sent her own daughter away for this manipulative person. It was laughable. Thinking back to everything Lily had gone through, Tom wanted to slap himself. They were so terribly wrong, played like fools. Especially at Mia's last remark about consummating the marriage, it made Tom's skin crawl. He couldn't contain his anger anymore, and kicked the door wide open. Mia's smirk hadn't vanished when she froze, terror flashing in her eyes. Aunt, brother, how long have you been here? Before Tom could respond, Mrs. Williams stepped forward, grabbing Mia's collar, her voice filled with fury. Why did you lie to me? Mia was terrified, kneeling on the floor, her eyes darting around, trying to think of a way out. Mrs. William looked pale, unable to believe what she'd heard. She had treated Mia as her own daughter, even willing to pluck stars from the sky for her, and neglected Lily. But what did Mia do? Called her cousin a brat and her parents fools? Mrs. William raised her hand to hit Mia, but Mia wailed loudly, kneeling on the floor and crying out, Aunt, I was wrong. That's not what I really think. I was having a mental breakdown. I dreamt I was framed by my cousin and that you all abandoned me. So I just said nonsense. It hurts. Before she finished, Mia started banging her head on the floor. Mrs. Williams, seeing all the blood, looked distressed, feeling sorry for her, subconsciously wanting to help. Mia noticed her change in attitude and felt overjoyed. I'll personally look into everything you did to Lily over the years, Tom spoke coldly. Lily's departure brought back his clarity. As the youngest strategist in the defense sector, she obviously had immense capabilities. Mia's face turned pale. She wanted to explain further. Tom turned and walked out of the hospital room, filled with pent-up anger. If Mia was a cunning villain, plenty of past events would now be re-examined. He could hardly imagine it. Everything was orchestrated by Mia. How much had Lily suffered? Just thinking about it was terrifying. With Robert's connections, they quickly dug up Mia's past. The more Tom read about Mia's history of wrongdoings, the angrier he got. Since Tom stopped siding with Mia, many were willing to speak the truth. He even found a notebook hidden in a secret compartment in Mia's room, detailing Mia's misdeeds. February 9th, it's my birthday. Dad got me a dress. It's so ugly. Why was I born into such a poor family? I wish Dad would die already. March, Dad finally died and he saved Lily. But why couldn't it have been Tom? Then I could join the Robert family with a debt of gratitude. But the William family isn't so bad either. Fostered by the Williams, my first job is to drive Lily to her death. With her around, I can never have it all. Thankfully, my aunt really cares for me, and my schemes always succeed. I really am too clever. Tom flipped through the pages, his face growing darker until he saw the entry from a few days ago. To get rid of that brat, I pushed her down the stairs on purpose. Who knew she'd survive? But that's okay. I still managed to get married to Tom. Tom's hand turned purple as he gripped the notebook, burning with anger, wanting to tear Mia apart. So Lily had been right all along. She had suffered so much. Thinking back to when he was 11, Tom resented the William parents' favoritism, bringing Lily home and promising to always be good to her. But somewhere along the way, he lost his way, forgetting his original intentions. Lily was blamed over and over, lying alone on a shabby bed, licking her wounds. A few days ago, she was pushed down the stairs. Tom had a chance to stand by her, but he slapped her instead without knowing the full story. Lily left in despair, her world plunged into darkness. Tom showed the notebook to the William parents. Initially, they didn't believe it, but once they recognized Mia's handwriting, their world shattered. When confronted with such solid evidence, Mia stopped lying and knelt before the William parents, repeatedly apologizing. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have tricked you. I just felt so insecure, scared you'd abandon me, so I blamed my cousin. Just give me one more chance, and I'll be good to you." Blood streamed down her forehead, but the William parents just stared coldly. The notebook's content was shocking, revealing a cruel truth. They had favored their niece over their daughter, only to find out she was so deceitful. The Williams exchanged a glance filled with endless regret. Was there still time to make things right? Seeing that all her self-harm couldn't win any sympathy from the three, Mia finally dropped the act. Her face twisted in anger. "Did I do anything wrong? It's everyone for themselves in this world. I just wanted a good life. Even if I had to do it all over again, I'd do the same," Mr. William roared, kicking Mia away, rushing to punch and kick her until she cried for mercy. Mrs. William joined, hitting harder. The love they once had for Mia turned into burning hatred. Tom looked on with scorn. What good is it to wake up now? Mia, barely alive from the beating, lay on the ground, unable to cry any longer, like a dead dog. The William parents came to their senses, looking at Tom with shame. "Can you find Lily? We've wronged her all these years, and we want to make it up to her." Tom didn't answer, but gazed out into the night, his voice tinged with confusion and pain. "And what if we find her? We've already lost her." The William parents trembled, their heads lowered, eyes brimming with tears. At the National Defense University's Shangnian campus. It's a secret place. Besides the troops stationed there to protect the region, it's also a training base for selective professionals. The campus is split into two, the outskirts of the city for the troops and the central area for the students. The sun was high as students in uniform trained under the sweltering summer heat, their clothes drenched in sweat but standing tall like pine trees, staring ahead with determination. As students of the university's decryption program, they needed to learn specialized knowledge alongside physical training. Lily had been there for half a month, using the training methods Robert taught her to make do with her not-so-strong physique. The food there was better than outside. Back in 1983, school conditions weren't great, and having meat at home was a luxury. Her parents gave all the good things to Mia, leaving Lily with vegetable scraps, sleeping on a damp balcony. But at school, with ample nutrition, Lily started growing taller. She cut her hair into a bob, looking lively and spirited, her eyes bright, completely unlike the sad, heartbroken girl who once seemed ready to collapse. She had an entirely new aura. From the moment Lily met the National Defense University admissions officer, she was impressed by their demeanor. The atmosphere really nurtured people. Surrounded by people with integrity, there's no time to dwell on petty affairs. The military training would last 3 months. Lily had adapted to the college rhythm, spending her days in physical training and evenings in the library. Her major in decryption meant facing highly challenging situations. In the future, unable to reveal her identity, truly a hidden figure. Each student in the decryption program is a national treasure. Lily cherishes this hard-earned learning environment. Here, there are no biased parents or disloyal Tom. There's only the pursuit of knowledge and the chance to serve her country. She was like a sponge, absorbing knowledge in the library, even late into the night. There were many other students with her, coming from all over the country, each one a top student in their own right. She had been ranked first back in her county, but now she felt immense pressure. Everyone around her seemed to have a burning passion to serve the nation. This late night, Lily reluctantly left the library, amazed by the endless sea of books. She thought to herself, even spending her whole life in the library, she wouldn't read them all. Thankfully, for now, she was focused on learning the basics of cryptology before the classes started. The night was calm and cool. Lily walked along the path, paused to look at the sky, and a memory of home flickered in her mind. She had left, possibly never to return. Her family of 4 was probably doing well. In the beginning, even though she was utterly disappointed in them, she missed them. Being away in a foreign place naturally brought about homesickness. But as time passed, the voices of her parents and Tom faded. Aside from fleeting thoughts, there were no more emotional waves. Her affection for Tom had long cooled. At college, she wasn't without friends. Aside from her 5 roommates, she had also met Ethan from Beijing. He was different, not like Tom at all. Cheerful and outgoing, like a well-protected flower in a greenhouse, yet with strong abilities, especially in cryptology. He was the most talented in the subject she had ever seen. From the moment Ethan entered the school, he was admired by many. Although there were no bans on dating at the National Defense University, he caught a lot of girls' attention. Some said he was from a good family in the big city. Others said he was here just to add a feather to his cap and would leave soon. Lily didn't care for these comparisons. She preferred walking alone, but no one expected Ethan to approach her and express his interest. This caught everyone by surprise, including Lily, who found it quite odd. Lily reached the dorm and saw a tall figure standing ahead, smiling at her. Ethan was very forward with Lily, not in a romantic sense, but more about professional discussions. Still, waiting late at night by the dorm entrance was quite unusual. At the time, the guys heading back to their dorms couldn't help but glance over, their eyes full of playful smirks. Lily just wanted to turn and leave, but seeing Ethan standing there persistently, she braced herself and approached him. Ethan handed her a notebook, smiling broadly. "Lily, here's my study notes." Lily looked at the pink notebook, hesitating whether to take it. She loved studying and knew Ethan was top-notch in their field, already having a deep understanding of cryptology. He was a true genius in the subject. They first met at the library. When everyone else was busy exploring campus, Lily preferred her solitude, reading in a corner. Her acceptance into Peking University wasn't just due to her own intelligence, but also a great mentor. She never mentioned this teacher to her family, not even Tom. Her teacher had a troubled past, having been confined for years and was thus stigmatized. When her teacher was gravely ill and uncared for, Lily, at 11, was also cast out of her family due to Mia's machinations. They met in an abandoned temple, and under her teacher's guidance, she gathered herbs, risking her young life. Her teacher survived, and from then on, Lily frequently visited the temple. Over time, she became her teacher's last disciple, learning that knowledge could change her life. Under this teacher's influence, Lily grew into a strong, independent learner, holding on to her kindness and a resolve to serve her country, despite the unfair treatment at home. It was the main reason she hadn't faltered. Her teacher had experienced much hardship, teaching Lily resilience. Sadly, her teacher passed away after her college entrance exams on a rainy night. She planned to share the good news of getting into Peking University, but found only a lifeless body in the temple. That night, she buried her teacher, leaving with a jade pendant as a keepsake. She lost her only mentor and confidant, and in her grief, turned to Tom, who then asked her to trade her university spot for something else. Lily felt her world collapse, losing both her teacher and herself. Faced with despair, she chose to live for herself, changing her path to the National Defense University, determined to dedicate herself to her country, with just a bag of old clothes and her teacher's jade pendant. She left her painful past behind. In the library, Lily often thought about her teacher, sometimes taking out the pendant for comfort. It was then that Ethan crossed her path, his eyes fixated on the pendant with a bright curiosity. Lily knew about Ethan's special background. Beyond his looks, rumor had it his arrival at the National Defense University was accompanied by a Jeep escort and a warm welcome from school leaders. Ever since spotting the pendant, Ethan clung to Lily, unfazed by convention. because of his friendly nature, even waiting outside the girl's dorm at night. Ethan ignored the stares, looking at the notebook he offered. Lily sighed internally. She felt it was time to set things straight. Taking the notebook, she looked into Ethan's bright eyes and said sincerely, "Ethan, stop looking for me." Ethan was caught off guard, hesitated, then lowered his head softly, replying, "Okay." He didn't say anything, but his emotions were intense. Lily held back her feelings and watched him leave. Right now, all she wanted was to study and serve her country. Love wasn't on her mind. Ethan hadn't approached her since that night. After the military training, the freshmen had a day off to unwind. Most chose to leave campus and hit the town. Besides tuition-free education, National Defense University freshmen got a monthly $10 living allowance, which was a small fortune in 1983. Lily didn't splurge. She stayed in the library, studying encryption as usual. Ethan sat across from her and pulled out a jade pendant from his pocket. It matched Lily's exactly, except hers had a dragon and his a phoenix. It was a pair of dragon and phoenix pendants that, "I'm your fiancé," Ethan said, almost making Lily topple over. Silence enveloped the library for a few minutes. As a student of the new era, Lily hated this engagement stuff, especially after being hurt by Tom. Her visions of love had turned more reasonable. She didn't want some elusive love. Love was a matter of conduct. Ethan was too bold, and a few years back, he would have been considered a hooligan. Lily took a deep breath to steady herself. "Ethan, be mindful of the impact. We're here to study, serve our country and people, not for romance. We didn't know each other before, there's no engagement, right?" She clearly warned Ethan not to continue, or else a counselor might have a talk with him. Ethan seemed to know his words went too far. Getting out would cause a storm. But after much thought, he decided to tell her the truth. He pointed to the pendant and shared a story with Lily. These pendants were a pair, kept by his father and an old acquaintance. They promised that if one had a boy and the other a girl, they'd be in-laws or siblings if of the same gender. Years passed, and Ethan's father never forgot that promise, but the old friend was lost due to special circumstances. Ethan thought he'd never see the pendant again, didn't plan to marry, so he joined National Defense University. He never expected their paths would cross like this, seeing the dragon pendant around Lily's neck in the library. After hearing Ethan's story, Lily fell silent. It didn't seem absurd. Mr. Noping had knowledge, indicating he wasn't local. Maybe he had a big background. Sadly, in earlier Casualty, Mr. Noping didn't leave after being vindicated but chose to live in a ruined temple. Now, Lily understood the pendant was a token. Realistically, facing a well-bred fiancé with potential future status was a blessing. But, hurt by Tom, she no longer trusted love. At National Defense, students' affections could only be revolutionary feelings. Lily hesitated, handing the dragon pendant back to Ethan. "I'm not Mr. Noping's child. If I knew its importance, I wouldn't have taken it. Now let it return to you. As for marriage, let's forget it." Without giving Ethan a chance to respond, Lily got up and left. Ethan, sitting alone, felt wronged. Since meeting Lily, her uniqueness stood out to him. Her distinct aura had a hint of sadness, beyond the firm revolutionary belief. In his age group, he'd never seen such an eye, like an endless abyss, easily ensnaring anyone who approached. Holding the pendant, Ethan stepped outside. The night sky above the library looked beautiful. The leaves on the sycamores by the field seemed untouched by fall, still vibrant. Lily returned to her dorm, sat on the balcony, silently gazing at the sky. She decided to focus on studying, staying away from Ethan. After the military drill, cultural classes began. In this era of restoration, students thirsted for knowledge. They bore immense belief in innocence. Besides cultural studies, Lily kept up with her physical training. She bumped into Ethan a few times at the cafeteria. They'd nod at each other and pass by. Many had gossiped about their odd relationship, almost involving a counselor. But soon, they drifted apart and nothing came of it. Most girls were relieved, thinking Ethan wasn't meant for anyone. One day, Lily was running on the track, like usual, and suddenly stopped. Her face fell. It was him, Tom. At the sight of Lily, Tom couldn't help but walk toward her. but Lily's subtle move made his face pale. That once adored, joyful girl now recoiled, defensive, as if seeing an enemy. Tom felt a piercing ache in his heart, breathless with anguish. Lily hated him this much? Tom bit back his sorrow, stepping forward again, only to see Lily retreat. He looked wounded. Lily, before Tom could utter more, Lily coldly cut him off. Tom, this is school. Mind the impression. A spark of shock crossed Tom's eyes. It sounded familiar. He quickly recalled when Lily excitedly shared her acceptance to Peking University. He instinctively kept distance, saying it was the yard and to pay attention. Now Tom felt deeply wronged, understanding the hurt he'd caused Lily before. Trying to stay composed, Tom said, Lily, you left without a word. Are you really cutting me off? Hearing this, Lily's expression remained neutral. She didn't argue, but her indifferent attitude pierced Tom's heart deeply. He understood what Lily meant. Living in a loveless home, always forced to give up the best things. Once you give in, you're expected to do it forever. She was already hopeless. It takes such deep despair to erase your identity, to live anonymously forever, never wanting to connect again. Just thinking about it hurt Tom deep in his chest, and Lily had endured such a cruel life for years. How did he even dare to ask? If Lily hadn't quietly left, she would have been forced to death. Tom lifted his head, wanting to pat Lily's head like he did when they were kids, but his arm hung in the air. When he met her indifferent eyes, his spirit took another blow. I'm sorry, he said, all his words condensed into a simple I'm sorry. He had no idea what else to say. Lily looked up at the sky, and after a long moment, her gaze fell on the sycamore tree by the edge of the playground. Memories flashed of when she was 11, kicked out by her parents, sobbing under the tree. Tom had been like an angel that day, bringing her new hope. But it was precisely this hope that pushed her into the abyss. Her heart still faintly ached to this day. Lily refocused her eyes, now determined, as she stared at Tom. If you're here to help Mia get the Peking University spot back, I'm sorry, but that ship has sailed, and I won't give it up. Tom's face changed drastically as he shook his head frantically. No, I just wanted to see you. He desperately wanted to tell Lily it was all a misunderstanding, that he never disliked her or rejected her, but recalling all the mistakes made during that time, he was too ashamed to say it. Now that you've seen me, you can leave. Lily didn't want any contact with Tom. Seeing his face only reminded her of the pain from 6 months ago. It had taken her months to heal that wound. Why did he have to stir things up again? Tom trembled, feeling like he was about to lose Lily for good, and urgently grabbed her hand, a mix of sadness and grievance on his face. Lily, why did we end up like this? Tom's voice shook with pain. Calmly, Lily responded, That's the same question I've been asking. How did it come to this? When Tom kept hurting her for Mia, Lily had screamed this question countless times in her mind. But it didn't matter anymore. Brother, this is the last time I'll call you that. I wish you and Mia happiness. Don't come looking for me again. Just as Tom tried to insist, Lily's next words struck him like lightning, making him freeze in place. I still thank you for the warmth and hope you once gave me. Please don't make me hate you. Tom stood stiffly, his face turning ashen. Only after Lily's figure vanished completely did he crouch down, overwhelmed with regret and sorrow. Even someone as tough as Tom, who wouldn't flinch at taking a bullet, had tears brimming in his eyes, sorrow etched across his face. The image of that sweet, admiring girl, Lily, no longer matched the person she had become. Tom clearly realized it was possible he was truly losing Lily. The late autumn sycamore finally shed a leaf, which landed on Tom's shoulder. Tom had never been more certain of his feelings for Lily, but by the time he realized it, she was already gone. Although the weather was hot, the air felt icy cold to Tom. His body was numb and unable to move, gazing toward where Lily disappeared. The excruciating heartache hit him, almost knocking him down. Ever since Lily silently left, Tom's life seemed like a void. Grief over losing someone dear overwhelmed him, and logic returned. He quickly found evidence of Mia's deceit, but why had he always turned a blind eye when Lily was hurt? For over 6 months, Tom desperately searched for Lily, risking his future, Yet he couldn't break through the defense barriers at her university. Until Robert, his father, seeing his son lost in misery, reluctantly called a friend there. Upon learning about Lily, Tom rushed over immediately. He thought explaining everything would return things to normal. But when he saw Lily's calm, indifferent gaze, Tom realized how naive he had been. Her eyes no longer showed the admiration they once held. The girl who always wanted to share everything, who was emotionally so dependent on him, had faded with the wind. In her place stood a stranger. Tom wanted to explain several times, but when he thought of his past actions, he couldn't bring himself to speak and let her leave. Like autumn leaves from a sycamore, eventually one with the earth. He stood under the sycamore for a long time, looking down at the fallen leaves, recalling that time when he held Lily's hand, promising her a home and that they'd never be apart. Sadly, he had broken that promise, and perhaps hurt Lily more than Mia ever did. In this moment, Tom felt lost and pained, deeply understanding the despair and resignation Lily felt toward her family and him. Lily didn't return to her dorm. Instead, she wandered around campus, not wanting to face Tom. Her peaceful college life stirred again because of his arrival. Distracted and troubled, Lily unknowingly ended up at the library, staring at the closed doors. She crouched on the steps, bathed in the cold moonlight, shivering. When she was 11, it was Tom who gave her new hope. For 7 years, she loved him, but at 18, it was Tom who crushed all her expectations. Now he claimed it was all a misunderstanding, yet the memories of hurt streamed through her mind, leaving Lily unsure she could trust Tom again. The moment she saw Tom, Lily realized she wasn't completely detached. She still felt heartache. She hadn't fully let go. At that moment, a pair of shoes appeared in front of her, glowing softly in the moonlight. Lily slowly looked up and saw Ethan. Ethan sat next to her, both gazing at the night sky. "Go ahead, speak your mind. It'll help," he said. Lily had been carrying a lot in her heart with no one to tell it to. Years of hidden pain nearly drove her mad. Though she barely knew Ethan, his presence gave her a sense of safety. In the moonlight, Lily began to share her story. Her biased parents, her unfaithful fiancé, and her broken self. Her voice was soft, as if relating someone else's tale. Ethan rested his chin on his hand, listening quietly. One spoke calmly, the other listened silently. Time seemed to stand still. "Do you still love him?" Ethan asked, after Lily finished, curiosity flickering in his eyes, barely concealing a hint of panic. Lily thought this question would tie her in knots, making it hard to answer, but unexpectedly an answer emerged instantly. "No, I don't love him anymore." The truth was clear. When disappointment piled up, she became immune to love and family. Ethan hadn't expected such a quick reply and was taken aback, but his face brightened with a smile, like a March breeze or dazzling fireworks, warming Lily's heart. She had to admit she liked being around this Ethan. "Then tell her," he said, meaning her younger self. "Cut ties with the past to move toward the future." Rising, he patted Lily's shoulder. "Go get some rest. Sleep. Tomorrow will be better." Lily unlocked her heart and fell asleep as soon as she returned to the dorm. When she woke, the morning sunshine warmed her face and she felt light. In the following days, Lily attended class as usual, but kept encountering Tom, whether heading to class, in the cafeteria, or during evening study. Tom would quietly be there, often standing off to the side, eyes filled with a gentle depth, a striking figure in his military attire. His presence was a beautiful highlight on campus. Gradually, people began to notice a connection between Tom and Lily. In the winter of 1983, romantic relations easily turned into personal conduct issues, but the fueled rumors soon died. On the 6th night after Tom arrived at the National Defense University, the warm southern region finally got a bout of cold rain. Lily was reading in her dorm when someone said a man was standing outside. She instantly knew who it was. After a moment of silence, she decided to go downstairs and face him. Lily realized she needed a clear conversation with Tom. She stepped out into the rain, his silhouette blurred by the downpour. Taking a deep breath, she walked towards him. The first autumn rain carried a chill, and there he was, drenched, eyes full of longing and helplessness, watching her approach. Once, when Tom wasn't happy, Lily would have done anything, even brought down the moon, to cheer him up. Now, seeing his sadness, she felt surprisingly calm, even slightly irritated. Belated affection seemed worthless compared to Weed's. All the love she'd held onto for years, the man she vowed to protect all her life, had lost its meaning through repeated neglect. When Lily severed her affections and applied to a cryptography program to serve her country, Tom claimed everything was a misunderstanding. Perhaps their entire encounter was a beautiful mistake. Placing an umbrella over Tom's head, Lily gently wiped the water from his face, tender gestures that made his eyes glisten with hope. Not worth it. Lily shook her head, a freeing smile on her face. She looked past Tom to the rain-veiled phoenix tree behind him. Thank you for what you did for me. You helped me through a cold, desperate winter, more painful than any battles others might have faced. But you also slowly disappointed me. You can't hide what you've done, the scars remain indelible, she said. Tom, you're not the brother I used to admire and love anymore. Tom's expression changed dramatically, his lips trembling, with a desperate shake of his head. He wanted to tell Lily he was always the brother she knew, the one who loved her but was too scared to face it. But as he met Lily's calm, indifferent eyes, the words lodged in his throat, refusing to come out. Lily wiped the raindrops from his eyes, those once warm hands now cold, sending a chill through Tom's body. Though she was right in front of him, she felt distant. Tom, trying desperately to hold on to the girl before him, found that Lily's words pierced his heart, leaving him awash in emotional bloodshed. He recalled being forced by his parents and the painful, despairing cries of being ruthlessly abandoned that night as Lily tumbled down from the second floor, pain seizing her breath, her yearning eyes meeting his before his slap severed their bond completely. Perhaps that slap extinguished Lily's love. Lily, I'm sorry. I took a week off to see you. Only a week. I'll leave tomorrow if it bothers you. But can I have just one more chance? Tom pleaded through tears, a look of hope on his face. Lily gave no reply, simply looking at him, unmoved by his tears. At that moment, they both seemed to understand something. Tom's body swayed. The sight of him crying no longer hurt Lily, confirming that she didn't love him anymore. Leaving the umbrella with Tom, she turned and headed back to her dorm, determined to part ways with Tom once and for all, never wanting to meet again. Tom, Kyle, and her biased parents could find happiness together. She would devote her life to the country. Lily didn't regret it. It was her choice and her destiny. After ending love, she had to light a lamp for herself. Tom dropped his umbrella and rushed forward, hugging Lily tightly from behind. He pleaded, Lily, please don't leave me. I was wrong, so wrong. Lily didn't struggle. She let Tom hold her and closed her eyes. Time seemed to stand still until the rain finally stopped. The moon broke through the clouds, casting its cool light on the sycamore trees by the playground. In that moment, Tom and Lily's shadows seemed etched in time. Tom slowly let go, his heart torn apart. Lily walked away without a backward glance. Tom was devastated, kneeling on the ground, crying painfully. He realized he had lost Lily for good. At that moment, he understood the despair Lily had felt before. It was unforgettable, like a leech that doesn't let go. He finally got it and regretted it, but it was too late. After their break, Tom left the National Defense University. On the day he left, he didn't say goodbye to Lily. He knew she wouldn't see him, and he understood she had moved on. Tom knew he had messed up badly. Before all this, he had a marriage application in his pocket. If Lily filled it out, they would have been legally married. But from Lily's attitude, it was clear getting back together was impossible. His heart was broken, and he had no excuses. He had driven her away with his own hands, adding salt to the wound in many desperate nights. He now fully felt the pain of despair and realized that true love sometimes means not disturbing the other person. Tom decided he wouldn't give up on Lily. He would find a way to atone and make amends. He wanted to show Lily, through his actions, that he was still the guy who held her hand and promised she'd never be alone. When he left, the weather was gloomy. Sitting on the train home, watching the city shrink into the distance, Tom closed his eyes. When he opened them, determination gleamed in them. Anyone who hurt Lily would pay, including himself. Lily had no idea about Tom's plans and wasn't interested. After making things clear with him, she went back to her usual student life, focused on studying and physical training. Although she spent the first half of the year alone, she later met Ethan. After that night, Lily realized she couldn't live trying to please others or be tied down by emotions. She used to crave her parents' love and Tom's approval, which was exhausting. Now she didn't miss her biased, cold family because they weren't worth it. She didn't care what others thought and walked with Ethan openly. There was no romance between them, just a partnership focused on learning. Ethan seemed to come from a good family. He knew a lot and had access to the latest study materials. When Ethan pulled out a computer program and explained its use in decryption, Lily seized the opportunity. Ethan was happy to stay by her side, using his resources to help her get cutting-edge decryption materials. Lily returned the favor whenever she could. To outsiders, they seemed like a couple, so no more rumors circulated. Attitudes in school were liberal. Young people were open to new experiences. Their guidance counselor only held one meeting about conduct and then dropped it. Lily and Ethan's relationship developed naturally, rooted in camaraderie. Photos of them studying side by side in the library made their way to Tom, who was miles away at the security office. In a dim room, Tom sat on a sofa, head down, surrounded by empty bottles. The smell of alcohol hung heavy in the air. It was only the second time he'd drunk since joining the service. The first was when Lily confessed her love to him. He had spent that night drinking and thinking. The second time was when he saw Lily with Ethan. It hurt. Shouting echoed from the next room where the William family's parents were punishing Mia. Her dirty tricks had been exposed, ruining her reputation. She couldn't even find a simple job or gig. With no living skills, Mia had to rely on the William family, but they were done with her. Whatever she had done to frame Lily, she was now facing it 100-fold in punishment. Mia couldn't handle the suffering and begged Tom for help. His punishment would be even harsher than the William family's. From then on, Mia lived in misery. They all tried to help Lily get revenge, in hopes of forgiveness, but did Lily even care? The William parents, visibly aged, always wearing expressions of regret and sadness, living in torment. Tom refused promotions, staying in the team to wait for the right moment. Time passed, over 3 years. Mia was a shadow of her former self, with dark circles under her eyes and unstable mental health, even diagnosed with depression. The Williams cried and pleaded to see their daughter, but Tom wouldn't tell them. They deserved this. Finally, it was graduation season at the National Defense University. Tom got a call, abruptly left the security office. It was time for him to atone. Everyone got ready. The mission was crucial, no mistakes allowed. In the summer of 1987, newly graduated college students felt compelled to support the Northwest, but safety issues arose. Back then, getting into college was a big deal, almost an honor. Each graduate was considered a national treasure. The National Defense University's code-breaking major wasn't taking the usual path. Instead, it set up a research center in the Northwest, secretly researching computer code breaking. It was a super-secret mission, crucial for future modern warfare. When the batch of national defense students graduated, they were sent straight to the Northwest, attracting hostile foreign powers who tried to sabotage them. A special operations brigade was assigned for their escort. Tom was the leader of this escort mission, always staying hidden to avoid being noticed by enemies. He wore his uniform, standing on a hill, watching the convoy below with sharp eyes, but his gaze softened when he looked at the lead vehicle. Tom had accomplished a lot over the years, but refused promotions, waiting for a particular opportunity. When the university's code-breaking team was heading to the Northwest, he immediately volunteered for the escort mission. Ever since Lily left the academy, Tom felt like he'd lost his purpose there. He wanted to be the protective brother he once was, to show her he hadn't changed. For him, redemption meant protecting her from the shadows. Plus, reaching the destination meant he could spend time with Lily. It was the only thing Tom felt he could do. Inside the convoy, Lily gazed out at the vast desert landscape. As they traveled deeper into the Northwest, the environment grew harsher. She realized that the challenges outside the campus were beyond anything she'd experienced in school. Her 4 years of college changed her a lot, turning her from a naive girl to a mature woman. Lily graduated top of her class, the most outstanding of her peers, and was entrusted with a critical mission in the Northwest. During the journey, Lily noticed the convoy stopped several times but always resumed quickly. She wasn't aware of the numerous attacks that occurred outside, all intercepted by their escort team. Once they reached the research center, the original 200-strong escort team had over 100 casualties, showing the intense battles along the way. Everyone immediately started working upon arrival, no rest in sight. Lily got to the research center and quickly noted the outdated communication equipment, sending a report recommending an upgrade. She had written several impactful papers on national defense information security back in school, which provided significant insights. The higher-ups tasked her with leading, hoping she could elevate defense information security to new heights. Lily didn't disappoint. In just 3 months, she revitalized the research center and significantly boosted their code defense capabilities. Just 3 months into the job, she earned a top award. While working, Lily often felt like someone was watching her, but whenever she turned around, no one was there, chalking it up to exhaustion-induced hallucinations. One time, a heavy rainstorm washed away a crucial communication station during a critical experiment. Lily rushed out to save it, braving the dangerous conditions. Though she fixed the station, she fell into a trap and got stuck in a cave with the downpour outside. Contacting anyone was nearly impossible. She stayed trapped for 3 days, and as she neared death, her vision blurred. She saw what seemed like a beam of light and a familiar figure emerged, carrying her out step by step. The figure was tall and strong, safely carrying Lily to the cave's entrance. Breathing fresh air felt incredible after being so close to death. Lily wanted to thank her rescuer, but he handed her to the medics and disappeared. She tried calling out, but weakly fell unconscious again. After 3 days in the infirmary, regaining strength, Lily searched everywhere for her savior, but no one spoke of him. The research center director personally urged her to focus on her work, saying it was their duty to protect researchers, and anyone would have done the same. Lily nodded, not thinking much of it, but she learned that the special unit had been secretly guarding them since they left school. 3 years later, Lily developed the second-generation communication system, greatly enhancing the team's operational capabilities. Consequently, she rose to deputy director of the research center. Before leaving the desert, the director sought her out, revealing something devastating. Due to the importance of their communication research, the center frequently faced enemy attacks. Within 3 years, they'd thwarted over 70 strikes, but at the cost of many comrades' lives. Still, they foiled the enemy's plots and completed their mission. The director handed Lily a photo, pausing before speaking somberly. While he hadn't wanted to distract her with it, given she was leaving, he had to be honest. The Special Brigade lost over 200 members protecting their mission. Lily trembled, tears welling up, as she raised a glass in their honor. The director nodded, sighing, pointing out she must have been quite familiar with the captain. Puzzled, Lily shook her head. She didn't know any captain. Yet images of Tom flashed through her mind. She shook them away, smiling to herself. Tom should be back at the academy, maybe even married to Mia, with a kid by now. She thought it impossible for him to have been on such a mission in the desert. But what the director said next hit her like a bolt out of the blue. It turned out that Tom was the captain, secretly protecting Lily for 3 years. During her fall into the cave, it was Tom who risked everything to save her, injuring his leg in the process. Tom had thwarted multiple assassination attempts on Lily, paying a heavy price each time. Once the second-generation communication system was completed, the brigade's mission succeeded, and they began withdrawing. Tom had been on the front lines for a long time, fighting against hostile forces. He got shot 3 times, and 1 bullet almost hit his heart. He nearly died, but even then, he refused to leave and insisted on staying on the front lines. Today is the day Tom leaves. The boss probably guessed about Tom and Lily's relationship, so he kindly reminded him, even though Tom had strictly warned the boss. Lily looked at the photo on the table. It was a picture of her and Ethan, sitting shoulder to shoulder in the library. Although Ethan's photo was torn away, she recognized it instantly. Could Tom really have been around all this time? Why hadn't they met in 3 years? Lily's emotions were complicated as she recalled what the boss said. Tom had blocked bullets for her several times and even saved her a few times in the past 3 years, yet he never took credit or wanted to meet in person. He just stayed hidden, silently watching over her. Lily suddenly remembered being 11 years old, sitting under a sycamore tree crying, when Tom appeared like an angel, holding her hand and promising he'd protect her for life. She thought their last meeting would be at the National Defense University campus, never expecting to see Tom again, but his actions left her deeply shaken. Lily wasn't the naive kid she used to be, but something about Tom's behavior always seemed so incredibly sad to her. She took a deep breath, grabbed the photo, and rushed outside. Lily made it outside the research center just in time to see a Jeep driving away. She yelled, "Tom!" There was no response. She sensed that Tom was there, but why didn't he answer? Meanwhile, in the leaving car, Tom glanced at Lily from the rearview mirror. His cool demeanor showed a glimpse of emotion, but he quickly suppressed it. The guard hesitated. "Should we turn back, sir?" Tom looked at his empty left arm and closed his eyes. "Keep going." To protect Lily, he lost his left hand in a life-and-death fight with the enemy, rendering him disabled. The organization had now forcefully arranged for him to leave and receive treatment. Tom wanted to continue watching over Lily, but knew in his current state, he'd be nothing but a burden. So he had no choice but to agree. He guarded Lily's safety in his own way, but he couldn't keep walking beside her for long. There was still a long road ahead. Tom's heart ached. For 3 years, he watched Lily from a distance, busy in the lab, wanting to be with her. Yet he always held himself back, thinking he'd done too many things that hurt her. Truly loving someone sometimes means not interfering. Besides, given his current state, he felt unworthy of Lily. Lily deserved a better partner. Tom never told Lily he had been there, nor did he tell her he was leaving. 10 years later, nearly 20 years into the country's reform and opening, the nation transformed dramatically, especially with the significant progress in the fourth generation of national defense information security development, thanks to continuous efforts over generations. Although not reaching international standards, the progress remained fast. Lily, graduating as a defense major in 1987, gradually honed her skills over the years, evolving from a naive graduate to an expert in information technology. She devoted all her time to the digitization of military forces and became the youngest corps-level officer, now the leading expert in the field. Lily had deeply rooted herself in the desert, living a simple and humble life, without any luxuries, just wanting to serve her country. Seeing her working so hard, the higher-ups forced her to take a break. Lily reluctantly left the experimental base and returned to the city. Given her sensitive and special status, she was under constant protection, with a Jeep leading the way. Not fond of such displays, she took her guards and left on her own. After reporting to the superiors, the first place she went was the National Defense University to attend the 1998 graduation ceremony. She gave a speech on stage while the young students below looked at her with admiration. Known as a key figure in encryption specialists, less than 40, already sitting alongside the principal, she was practically a celebrity among students. Lily looked at the starry-eyed students, remembering how she once looked at Tom like that. Decades had passed, and she'd long forgotten her love for Tom. Her memory remained stuck on that departing Jeep in the Northwest desert. 10 years had gone by with no word from him. She had tried calling the security zone where Tom once was, hoping to thank him, but they said Tom had retired and was no longer there. Lily sat on the stage, gazing at the students below, seeing them as the future of national defense, just like she once was. Yet her mind floated back home, wanting to see Tom. When forced to take a break, she couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to do something. It wasn't about rekindling any romance with Tom. At her age, her life belonged to the party and the people. Lily went home as soon as she left the National Defense University. Without alerting anyone, she headed to the old security compound and stood under the sycamore tree. After all these years, the tree looked the same, though the ground was paved, no longer bare earth. The compound hadn't changed, still looking traditional, with red bricks and green tiles. Lily stood outside the yard, looking towards where she used to live. She didn't think about her biased parents. They now had Mia, and she doubted they'd shed a tear if she died away from home. Besides visiting Robert, she wanted to thank Tom personally, but inquiries revealed Robert had moved due to a job transfer, and people seemed unsure about Tom's retirement, suggesting he might have gone north with Robert. As for her parents, whom she was least eager to see, they'd moved away for unknown reasons. Lily felt somewhat relieved, though there was a tinge of disappointment. Her time was limited, with work calling her back, so she didn't linger long. Lily returned to the sycamore tree, standing there for a while. She received a call from her husband, Ethan. You've been away for so long, why not come home now that you're on break? Your daughter misses you. Mama, Mama! Lily heard her daughter's voice, and a gentle smile appeared on her determined face. She hung up the phone, got into her car, and drove away. A breeze came, and a plane tree dropped a leaf. Fall was here, but Lily didn't notice that. In Tom's house by the window, someone was quietly watching her leave. Tom didn't leave with Robert. He stayed in the yard, waiting. He didn't even know what he was waiting for, but he just waited. When Lily really did come back, though, Tom didn't have the courage to see her. He just stood in the shadows, like a silent guardian in a desert. He once was unable to face her, and now he lacked the courage to meet her. All Tom could do was send his blessings. Once he confirmed that Lily's car was gone, he slowly went downstairs to thank the neighbors. If it weren't for their discretion, Lily might have discovered the truth. Carrying a basket, Tom headed to the cemetery. Here lay the graves of the William family's parents, and not far away was a solitary grave. It was 5 years ago when Mia couldn't bear the torment anymore. She used a sharp knife to kill the William family parents, who had once loved her dearly. Suffering from severe depression after killing them, she slashed her wrists in the bathroom. When discovered, there were only 3 bodies left in the house. Tom used his connections to keep this from Lily because he didn't want her to be heartbroken. Staring at the William family parents' gravestone, Tom sighed and looked up at the sky. Lily is back. She's doing well, you don't have to worry. It's the living who suffer after you've gone. I hope Lily will always be happy. I believe that's what you would have wanted too. Tom stood up and walked away, his figure casting long shadows in the setting sun, alone and desolate. He recalled Lily confessing to him at the age of 17, her young face turning red, with an excited, hopeful look, like a little sun. If only he had agreed back then, maybe everything would be different now. But there are no ifs. He can only live in endless regret until his life ends. Back in Beijing, Lily returned home to see her husband sitting on the sofa, rocking their daughter to sleep, softly humming a lullaby, his face glowing with fatherly pride. She married Ethan in her 30s. She never expected Ethan to wait for her all those years. Lily walked to the window, looking at the child in her husband's arms. The child's young face looked so much like her own when she was small. Unable to resist, she reached out to touch. Ethan glanced at her, whispering, "She just fell asleep. Don't wake her. You'll have to put her back to sleep if you do." Lily gave an awkward smile. In this house, she always had no say. Watching her husband and daughter, a wave of strong guilt surged through Lily. She felt guilty for working outside for so many years without spending time with them. She gently hugged her husband from behind, closing her eyes. They had a perfect family. No matter how busy she was, she would love her husband and daughter, ensuring they never experienced the hardships of her own childhood. Everything would be fine, just like the country, now growing stronger and more prosperous, step by step. Home exists because of the country. Home exists